Coming up on this week's episode of An In-Depth Look, I'll show you how I do real-time virtual sets, camera switching, and even live streaming from my garage. Now, the software that we use to not only record in real time, but also to live stream out to the Scale Engine servers is Wirecast. And one of the things Wirecast lets you do is do composite shots, like the one you're seeing right now, where I'm sitting in a virtual studio, and then in another virtual window, I have our chat room, and they're watching on the live stream. But the other component that Wirecast is doing that is a critical time saver is it's actually doing our green screen in real time. And I'll give you more information about our green screen here in just a second, but watch what happens when we turn it off. There, I just kind of blew away some of the magic. You can see I actually live within this box right here, this virtual box that we've placed in the Wirecast shot. And then when the green screen turns back on, Wirecast starts interpreting green in real time and making it transparent. So in real time, Wirecast is cutting out green and replacing it with transparency. And it's actually really good at that. I don't have a perfect green screen. In fact, if you look at this shot here, you can see it's a bit uneven. The green screen should try to be as even as possible. You see I have wrinkles in the curtain. That's normally would cause issues, but thanks to Wirecast's rather robust green screen tool, it actually works pretty good. I probably shouldn't say any more unless they're paying me to actually plug them, because I think I could make a good buck off of how many good things I have to say about them. But everything you've just seen happen here in this one shot was all done in real time by the Wirecast software without any effort on my part. No post-production has been done to these shots, including mixing in real-time live chat room and streaming it out to the internet while recording it locally in 720p. Okay, so now we're on the other side of the camera. The angle you normally see from would be this angle here, but I've decided we're now on the other side of the table. And I'm showing you probably the most important bits. This is an area I've focused a lot before on other videos I've done, but just a quick recap. Everything we do comes into this HV40, which also brings in audio on this Beach-Tech audio adapter here, which comes from our big mixing board right here. Look at the size of that thing. And they also feeds this compressor, right? And this compressor runs back into this camera, which has HDMI feeds into this big boy. And that's the Wirecast machine I was just talking about. And here you can see a copy of our live chat room. And this is the screen that we always look at ourselves on. So whenever you see the host kind of looking offside, that means they're looking at themselves. These are all the available shots that we have to us. And holy crap, there's just a lot of shots that are currently available. And these are all the different audio channels that we're currently sending out to the live stream. We have a lot of different options. You can see I have a countdown that's going in here. These are all composited live. And then we have things like this little microphone right here. Little USB microphones are handy in this setup because I can get on here and I can talk to the live stream and make announcements without having to turn on all the dang gear, which I used to have to do until one day it dawned on me I could just have a USB mic and then I wouldn't have to turn on my mixer and on my microphones. But the real secret sauce is definitely bringing all of the audio and video into this guy at once, so that way you have one line in to your mixing machine. It's just your audio and your video together. I don't have to sync them up later on. That's what this Beach-Tech lets me do with their otherwise consumer-grade camera. Now, you've probably noticed this green ring around the camera. This is the green screen maker. What it does is when it shines on that gray screen, it makes the gray screen, there's little beads. Show them the gray screen over there. Show that gray screen over there has little beads in it. And these beads over here, they reflect green back into the camera lens. So to us, it always remains green. That's Reflect Media. I got that from the DVEstore.com, or just Google search DVE store. They're not going to be able to see. You're not going to be able to see anything when she does that. The camera doesn't focus like that, but she doesn't know. But it's okay. She still does a good job. Thank you.
Innocent face.
Yeah. And so that's it. So that's how the green screen works, and that feeds into the camera, which then goes into Wirecast and does it in real time. There's other options too that we'll do for some shows, like I did for last week's In-Depth Look, where I'll do a lot of the effects in post-processing. They generally look a lot better, and I'm going to save that for next week's episode. So I'll explain how I do that and how I also put together audio shows and do some of the editing in the editing bay. But that's another episode. We're just focusing on the studio today. Probably something else to look at is how we pipe in the screens into the computers. One of the most important elements of show production is being able to capture our screens live. We use a couple of different methods to do that. I'll show you one of them. This is actually a software one. So here's my web browser, and I'm scrolling on the Jupiter Broadcasting page. You can actually see this happening in real time on our screen capture machine. There's also other methods we can use, like HDMI capture. We can get live screen from this computer. That's how we might do, say, a video game capture like Stowe or reruns. We capture it live, bring it in over HDMI. It's nice and butter smooth, full resolution. And that's the end of this week's tour of the HD studio here at Jupiter Broadcasting. Thanks to my lovely wife, Angela, for the camera work on that episode. Now, one of the points I want you guys to take away with this is, honestly, I've probably only scratched the surface on what I could show you. But what I'm kind of the most proud of is how it's thrown together in my garage. I mean, I'm just using regular consumer-grade technology, nothing special, and I think that's the key part, is that really anybody with enough time to research and put it together can assemble something like this. So that was really the main points that I wanted to drive, but really there's a whole other half of this production, and that's the editing bay. Everything we do at least goes through the editing bay for a little bit of time, maybe just for some polish, and I'm going to cover that in next Saturday's episode, which means if this episode raised any questions, you still have time to send them in, and I'll try to answer a few at the end of next week's episode. Probably the best way to get a hold of me would be on one of the various social networks that I lurk. Go over to bit.ly/Chris Fisher. G+ is my preferred. Or you can email me, chris@jupiterbroadcasting.com, or feel free to leave a comment over on the Jupiter Broadcasting page where this episode is posted. Now, I'll try to throw some links to some of the hardware I covered in this episode, if I covered any hardware, and other kinds of notes you might also find valuable there. So, you know, worth your visit. All right, everyone. Well, thanks so much for tuning in to this week's episode of An In-Depth Look, and we'll see you right back here next Saturday.